Hello, Steve Hart, so well, history repeats itself, and it's really annoying in two ways. Wicked is suffering some of the things that Barbie suffered. Now, the first thing, of course, is awards season. They're basically ignoring Wicked, and the Golden Globes recently gave Wicked the same award that Barbie got, which was the a Box Office Achievement Award, which basically says, yeah, you made a bunch of money, but we're not going to show you any respect anyway because you're women and diverse, so, we want to keep it old school. So that was annoying. The other thing that happened is really, really even more annoying because it's stupid and it's something that internally was caused. And one of the things that was really bad of Barbie was they released it to streaming and video on demand way too soon. And when they announced it, everyone was like, "No, it's still making like 15 million a week." Or so. It was like still doing really good box office. And people said, "No, what are you doing?" And they turned around and said, "Okay, we're not going to release it now." And they delayed it like a week. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Now, unfortunately, when they sell these movies, they sell things like VOD on demand and they already have the dates and all that worked out. I'm like, you need to not do that. Or you need to have a clause where if it's a big hit, you can push it back another month or something. Because what they did was lose like 15% of the box office where it dropped, instead of, I think, during like the holiday season, Wicked and Moana and that went up like 35% or something. But while Moana went down only 35% or something like that, Wicked went down 48. So it's like almost 15% difference, I think. I think it was 33 to 48 something. So it's nearly 15% less. So that's millions of dollars that you lost for like 50,000 video on demand things, and they maybe made $1 million out of that. And I'm like, the same people are going to buy that film later, and probably less people would have bought it because they can still see it in the cinema. You wait until it's done in the cinema and people can't see it, and then you sell it on video, on demand, and download and all that, because that's the only way people can get it. And they want to see it again, or if they didn't see it in the cinema, they want to see it. So putting it in too soon, you just lose money. And how it works is you've got competing areas competing against each other. It's like, well, the video on demand stream people want their money, and they don't care if the box office loses, as long as it's made enough money to be popular on their service. And it's like, you all are eating each other's, profits. Like, why would you do this? And the same thing happened with Barbie. It's happened with this. It's like, I can kind of understand if they don't know how a film is doing, they have to set up all these things, but they need to have a clause where if this film is doing this amount at the box office, they can push it back to this date or push it back by a week or whatever. And that, yes, that would be difficult for the people promoting the streaming services and the video on demand, but they don't need to give the details right away. They can say, okay, coming soon, and then when they know for sure, then give the exact dates, and they can work with that with advertising and find a way to spin that and get more attention to a film's release with multiple announcements rather than just sort of, oh, we've already predetermined the date and it's coming out on this date, even if it's still in the cinema doing really well. So that just drove me nuts that it's still in the cinema making like 10 million a week, and they are putting on video demand, and it was probably would have made 12 or 13 million this week. It was making more than that before. And people are acting like, no, that didn't affect it. Like, it affected it. It did. So, same thing with Barbie, same thing with this. And, like, if you get a surprise hit, you should have, like, a box office hit clause where you can delay the release of other formats. So, I had to have a little rant about that because it really did drive me nuts. But that's it. So, getting snubbed at the awards, Ariana Grande didn't get an award, but I don't like her anyway. I had to be nice to her after that thing happened at a concert a few years ago, but I haven't forgiven her for licking those donuts. I think that's the person she is. And then ending up with somebody's husband, after a production. Not going to say she stole him and broke her home down or anything, but I just don't think she's a nice person. And the way we can't comment on how slim she is when it looks like she might have an eating disorder, and you shouldn't be protecting that if that's what it is. If she's just naturally skinny, then we are bullying her. So it's hard to tell, but she wasn't always that thin. So I think it's either stress overworking or an eating disorder, and all those things should be talked about positively, and we should help people with those issues and bring awareness to those issues, not protect people with them and act like we're body shaming them when we're trying to point out that they've got a medical problem and health problems if they do. So, yep, that's my whole little rant on Wicked and all the issues with it. Now, I still haven't seen the film. I don't even know if it's any good. I hear it's good. I saw the stage musical. It was great. I've got the soundtrack. But yeah, I do want to see it. I'm looking forward to the next one. I think the most exciting thing about it, the most interesting thing about it, was the fact that they built so many of the sets practically. They really tried to create a real world that the actors could be, immersed in, and the audience could be immersed in and actually believe in, as opposed to just doing it all on, a big green screen, or on the what is that big giant LED screen set stage called? I want to say The Void, but it's not that. It's got some other name. But I've been talking for 5 minutes. I can't believe this video is this long. It's just supposed to be a little comment on the mistake of releasing Wicked onto, streaming and video on demand while it's still in the box office making over 10 million a week. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Thanks, bye.